It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Another week has flown by. I cannot believe that it's Friday again.
You're saying it's Friday again, but we're actually halfway through the school term. And I know that because I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's right. The homeschool thing's happening. Hey,
normally I don't have a clue.
The homeschool journey for us has been a rocky road. It has been a really challenging thing to step into homeschool and try to look after a grade 9 child and a grade 4 child. And when I say it's been a really hard thing for us, I mean it's been a really hard thing for you because my calendar's been pretty full, and I've been in Perth and in Adelaide and in Sydney and Melbourne and all over Queensland. I haven't been around nearly as much as I wish that I could be. But when I arrived home at the end of last week, so I flew in on Friday night, you and I finally got to have a date night. On Saturday morning, I had to take one of our kids to a sporting event. When I came back, I went surfing while she was at that because the parents aren't welcome to stay. So I went for a quick surf for 45 minutes, came back with her, walked into the living room, and I saw you doing homeschool at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. What's with that?
You're stealing my story already?
Oh, is this what you were going to talk about for I'll Do Better Tomorrow?
I am definitely going to talk about that.
There's a big tease then. We're going to find out how Kylie had our 9-year-old daughter homeschooling at 8 a.m. Saturday. Before we dive into I'll Do Better Tomorrow, though, and before we hear that story, which has completely intrigued me, I thought it would be good to do a quick revision. At the start of the year, we discussed openly that we were going to be really transparent about our word of the year, how things are going with the big word, the thing that we're focused on for the entirety of 2024. I'm just wondering, can you even remember what your word was?
Of course I can.
Oh, thank goodness
it was
for that.
embrace. My word was embrace.
How's that going?
Well, we're going to talk a lot about that as we go through my week.
Oh, so that's another tease, is it?
It is.
Can you
It
give
is.
us a little bit of a snippet?
But I think for me, I feel like I'm actually doing really, really well. There has been so much change in my year, and we're only in...
We're halfway through term 1.
Yeah. And as a result, it has required a lot of kind of flexibility on my end and ability to kind of shift and move in ways that I wouldn't normally or naturally want to go. And it hasn't always looked pretty. And as a result, it would be really, really easy for me to just be really hard on myself and pull myself to pieces and lose motivation as a result. But because my word this year has been embrace, it's just an acknowledgement that it looks really messy right now, but this is where we're at. And I just need to keep moving forward and keep getting curious. And as I do that, the aha moments are coming, and the experiences that we're having are a result of me being able to sit in those harder places. So I think I'm actually doing really well.
I love hearing that. My word, can you remember what my word was?
Your word was presence.
I'm so glad you remember that because I'd totally forgotten. No, I'm just kidding. I hadn't forgotten at all. Can
we
I
don't
ask?
have a lot of your presence in our home at the moment.
No, but that's why I wanted it to be my key word, because when I am here, I've got to be present. I can't be distracted because I know with a calendar that has me speaking all over the country so much, it's really important to me that I'm absolutely present. I'd love to ask you, have you noticed anything about my capacity to be present when I'm here?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
Do you feel like I'm doing okay? Am I doing better than last year, or is it just more of the same? No, we haven't rehearsed this. I have no idea what you're going to say about. I could be in a whole lot of trouble.
Being completely honest, I can't actually answer that because I feel so run off my feet and pulled in so many directions at the moment that even when you're at home, I'm not actually aware of what you're doing because my load is so busy.
So you're not present. You're so busy embracing what you're doing.
I'm so present in the moment of what I'm doing that I'm not aware of what anyone else is doing.
Okay. Well, here's what I have done. I don't know if you've noticed. I've deleted all the games from my phone. I have no games on my phone.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure. It's gone. I did have a game on there for a little while, and I discovered that it was taking me away from being present. And so I'm giving myself a B+ because I did have the game there, and it took me away, like incredibly. I've also deleted all of my social media apps. So my team are now running all of our social media. I'm not involved in it at all, and I'm finding that it's so. I've decided to call social media the great unhappiness machine, because it pulls us away from the things that matter most.
Well, I haven't done that entirely, but I deleted all my games.
Yes.
And I have put a time limit of 15 minutes on my social media. I really like to see my friends' faces, see their kids, and 15 minutes is enough. I don't actually need any more. But if I have more time, I find myself scrolling.
Yeah.
So I've really found that that's made a huge difference. And I've activated screen time on my phone, which means I don't access any of my apps until 8 a.m. each day. And it goes to sleep by 9 p.m.
So no screens from 9 p.m. till 8 a.m. helps you to be more present as well.
It's crazy. I can't do anything with my phone, so I don't use it.
Yeah, brilliant. I genuinely believe that it is the unhappiness machine. Like I said, I've deleted the apps, made a really big difference, but I sort of took a bit of a dive and was in it for too long. So I'm giving myself a B+. There's room for improvement. I think that being present, though, I'm feeling the difference, and I'm hoping that you'll start to notice the difference when I am here, that I'm being present. Let's talk I'll Do Better Tomorrow. Tell us the story that you've had us hanging out for about why our 9-year-old is doing her homeschool stuff on a Saturday morning. Was she doing catch-up because she did nothing during the week? Is that what happened?
Partly.
Oh, right. Okay.
Partly. A couple of days ago, we had a really, really tricky day. I had to leave the house very early. She got left with her big sister. They had a bit of an altercation. I came home and she was in a feral mood. She was not interested in anything I had to say, and she found her Lego and she started playing with that. I attempted multiple times throughout the day to get her attention and we got nowhere. You came home, took one look at it and said to me, has she done any schoolwork today?
You said no.
And I said no. But what happened as the day progressed, what I saw was she was able to emotionally regulate herself in her own time, in her own way. And by the time she got to late afternoon, while I was finishing up some tidying in the house and doing the dinner, she came and asked me what she could do to be helpful. And we completely blitzed her bedroom together. She had dinner with me, we read stories, and we went to bed and we had this beautiful calm night. And I was just rethinking about the experiences that we've had previously while she was at school. I would have sent her off to school on a day like that where she was really
dysregulated.
She would have gone to school and one of two things would have happened. I would have either got a phone call from the school or an email to say, Emily's had a pretty bad day today, this is what's happened, and we would have had to have a conversation. Or she would have kept it all in, and by the time she got home that afternoon, she would have unleashed her wrath upon me and everybody else in her sight, and we would have had a really, really challenging afternoon and evening. And so from there, I kind of just recognised that this is the beauty that homeschool provides. While it's really, really challenging and hard because every day at the moment looks really different.
And it requires your full presence.
Full presence.
100% of the time.
What it does gift me and my child is the acknowledgement that not every day looks the same, firstly. I don't feel great some days and I don't want to do things some days. And that's okay right now. She's 9. As a result of that, she had an excursion on Wednesday, which meant Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was no school. Thursday, we sat down and we started to do some work, but we were a whole week behind. We're starting on Thursday. So I said to her, let's do a little bit this morning. And I said, once we've had lunch and we've spent some time with some friends, then we can do some in the afternoon. And because I'd prepped her, I'd told her what needed to happen, she was actually really open to it. When we sat down, I said, okay, we're going to do English. She said, I don't want to do English. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? And she pulled up science. So I've got this kid who I never realised she is motivated to do science and history, of all things. She loves them. So I pulled up her science report.
I love this. I know I'm interrupting you, but this is critical because what you're highlighting is motivation is high when autonomy needs are supported.
100%. 100%. So she pulled up her science report. She had to watch a video. We had to do some things. And then she had to make a diorama of a paper mache volcano. When I saw that, honestly, I rolled my eyes and I thought, oh no.
My heart sinks. I'm thinking, no. Mess. I'm not going to see my dining table for 3 days.
She said, Mum, can we do it? Can we do it? She was so excited. Unbelievable. Miracle of miracles. We had everything in the house that she needed. And so she literally got started, just got started all by herself and spent hours working on this thing. I showed her how to make the paper mache glue. She thought it was the best thing in the world. She absolutely had a ball. Before I knew it, we actually had this really cool looking volcano.
So just on this, there's obviously a handful of really important advantages to traditional schooling. And there are also some substantial disadvantages. Homeschooling offers its own variety of advantages and disadvantages. But what I'm hearing here with this homeschool situation is we've got a child who is saying, I don't feel like doing English, but I'll do science. There's autonomy in it. Super excited about doing this task. And the critical thing is she can spend hours on it.
Hours.
She can monotask, get fully focused, and do it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, if that's what she wants to do, because there's no set schedule. There's no bell going off and saying, well, we've got to go and do this thing now. We don't have to worry about transitioning from A to B to C. And at this point in her development, that's appropriate and it's wonderful for her, and her motivation stays high as a result.
And that was one of the biggest struggles she had at school, was that she would get involved in a task.
And then get pulled away.
And then she'd get pulled away, which meant that each time she started a task, her motivation was actually really low because she recognised that she would never get to finish it. And so the struggles that we were having in relation to that were pretty big in the classroom. So Friday came along and I woke up early and there was just something that clicked inside me. She gets up between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, and it's actually probably the time where she's the most compliant. As the day wears on, she gets a little bit harder to deal with.
Don't we all?
And I just looked at her when she walked in to have a cuddle, morning cuddles with me, and I said, Em, I've been thinking about it. We get up nice and early in the morning, and normally we go to the chapel with your sisters and we'll do some Bible study together. I said, what would it look like if we started the day with schoolwork? I said, how would that work? And she looked at me and she said, I love it.
Really?
And I said to her, okay, well, we don't have Bible study today. Should we just start? This was 7 a.m. on Friday morning. The other girls were having a little bit of a sleep in, and she said, I'll go get the computer. So we sat in our bed. We started to do some English. I did some reading with her. I pulled out her learning sheets where she had to do some comprehension work. She literally just sat there next to me while I read to her. We talked about the book. We talked about the characters, and we just sat there and we did it. And I realised really quickly that I had tapped into something that I hadn't previously recognised. Finding the moments where she's most motivated to work is the key to everything. If I can tap into those moments, then schooling is easy.
I love this story, and that obviously explains why on Saturday morning she was up early and happy to do some more schoolwork because she was motivated to do the volcano diorama and the art, and you were doing maths and creative ways to do her times tables and division. Like it was so awesome to watch, even if it was a Saturday morning. There's a level of privilege associated with what we're talking about. We're in a position where you're able to not work and therefore take the time and provide the capacity for our daughter to be homeschooled and for you to spend that time with her. I wonder if we move away from the homeschool situation and our specifics, what the take-home message is for time-poor parents who just want answers now, who are hearing this and saying, oh, that's great for you, but what do I do? Because my kids are going to school or my kids don't want to get things done. What's the real I'll do better tomorrow take-home message here?
So if I was to kind of sum everything up, for me, what has taken place in the last few days is literally a revolution in the way I'm homeschooling. But regardless of whether it's homeschooling or dealing with friendship challenges or an exercise regime or eating better, a revolution takes time. And I know we talk about the time poor parent all the time. And for all of us, there is this feeling that there just aren't enough hours in the day. Whenever we focus on that, it's going to be really hard for us to be intentional about what needs to take place. What I've experienced over these last 5 weeks with Emily specifically is that it actually has required me sitting in, being in the moment with her and finding the time to know my child. They're our children. We know them better than anyone else. And yet for many of us, because we feel so stretched, we still don't know them. And it has literally been sitting in that space with her and starting to see things that I do know, but connecting more dots to the things that I do know. That is helping me to be more intentional about how I meet her needs and the things that she is desirous to do. And that allows me to know her better. As I know her better, then I'm able to utilize my time better in the ways that I can serve and support and help her. It's all about time. It really is all about time.
To a Child Love is spelled T-I-M-E. We hope that you've enjoyed the Happy Families podcast today. It's produced by Justin Rowland from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. For more information about how to make your family happier, we're at happyfamilies.com.au and on all the social platforms.